Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Legacy Leaders. I'm Scott McMeans. Today, I'm with Zachariasz, Zoladz of the Cleveland Pretzzel Company, and that's pretzels spelled with two Z's for obvious reasons. So, as we get into this, I'm going to open the floor. So, the camera and the microphone are yours. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and the Cleveland Pretzel Company.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Scott. I really appreciate the time and the offer to share my story here on your podcast. So I'm Zachariasz. Zoladz. You can call me Zach, though. I'm currently a 19-year-old junior at John Carroll in Cleveland, Ohio. I started Cleveland Pretzell Company out of my dorm room my freshman year in college. Growing up, I didn't have really like the easiest path growing up. So I kind of took that and took a deep dive to create the dream life I always wanted. And I just always loved to work. I really had no idea how to make pretzels. So I kind of learned from YouTube. And my friend's dad had a commercial kitchen. And I was like, hey, can I come make some pretzels? He was like, yeah, come on. So I'd wake up at 3 a.m. before my 8 a.m. statistics class and really just learn how to make pretzels. And I created a website. I started marketing. And then it kind of went from there. I started doing catering, weddings, events, everything. And the demand grew. And I actually lost access to that commercial kitchen because I was there so much and I didn't have enough time for me anymore. So I was kind of, I had a big challenge and I had to pivot. So I failed forward and I was reaching out to a bunch of people, cold calling. And I actually found a John Carroll alumni who's a manufacturer and does wholesale stuff. I had no idea about wholesale. So if you don't know, wholesale is basically I sell pretzels into cases and then we distribute them across bars and restaurants across Northeast Ohio. So yeah, currently I'm in 7 locations and I've sold 18,000 sticks on the year so far. So over 18,000 sticks. So
That's pretty impressive. There's a lot to unwrap here, Zach. So thank you for giving us a jumping point. So a couple things. You didn't know how to make pretzels, but you learned how to do it on YouTube. Okay. What was the drive to make pretzels the business that you wanted to do? Because when we talked earlier, you kind of gave me a real quick synopsis of how you came up with pretzels, other than the fact that you ate a ton of them. I get that. But I want people to understand how you came about this, because at John Carroll, you're a business major in entrepreneurship. So you're not doing this out of pure luck. You're doing this because you know what you're doing from the education you're receiving, but you did this very specifically. So walk us through why pretzels.
yeah, so I grew up eating a bunch of soft pretzels. I was a very picky eater and I would literally just eat soft pretzels like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and above for snacks. But during my freshman year, I was in Dr. Mindy Paradise's class and we were doing an exercise and I always knew I wanted to start my own business. I was like, what can I do? I'm like, what about soft pretzels? Okay, I like soft pretzels. And then I was like, how can I be different from the competition? And I thought about flavors. So then I just ran with it.
Crazy. So you looked at a market that only had a couple different competitors. You had a very easy way of differentiating yourself. So you created a very unique selling position immediately, and then you started pursuing it from a manufacturer position on your own. And then I love the story. You said, I had to pivot because I failed forward. You were there too often. They didn't have enough time for you at the commercial kitchen. So now you had to find somebody new. The idea that you easily, Zach, could have said, all right, I'm done. There's nothing I can do. I got kicked out of my kitchen. Oh, wait, I'm going to go find somebody to make these damn things for me. And then I'm going to continue to sell and market them the way I do. And now you're in how many different restaurants and bars across Ohio?
Yeah, so it's currently 7, and that's just continuing to grow.
It's awesome. So I like the idea that you pivot because you learned something and the opportunity. Well, one door got closed because you couldn't be in that kitchen anymore, but you open another door by simply finding somebody that could be a partner for you and help you manufacture more pretzels. So what's the future now? What are you expecting to do with Cleveland Pretzel Company?
Yeah, so the future is really exciting. I'm looking to grow a national brand in retail and just kind of continue to grow throughout Ohio and nationally. So that's the next moves, and keep developing new products. I actually have some new products in product development to grow nationally as well. So
All right. Well, if you need somebody to help you with product development, I know a guy who really likes pretzels. And I'd be honest with my assessment of flavors. So let's take a real quick step back. Do you have any interest in following an Auntie Anne's model and becoming a storefront?
that's a great question. I'm not really too sure. I think initially I want to do more wholesale, and I want to get into the retail grocery store space.
Okay. So there's a difference between wholesale, meaning you sell your pretzels to whomever and they put it on their menu and nobody knows it's a Cleveland Pretzel Company. Then there's the branded version in the supermarket, and then there's the retail store, right? Those, am I right with
Yeah,
the three different types? Okay.
exactly. Well, there's two types. It's the wholesales to the restaurant where it's just soft pretzel sticks, but they're mine, and then the retail is just my brand and different products in the brand in the store.
Okay. Well, then would the third one be you build your own storefront?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm
Okay.
not sure if I do that, but I'm never saying no.
Well, I think if anything we've learned so far is you're not the type of person to say no. You're the type of person to say, wait a second, let me figure it out, pivot. Okay, now we're moving forward. So I like that. You're a young kid. You're 19 years old. Why would anybody take you serious? You're 19 years old. What do you know?
I'm obsessed over it. I think my first year in college, I went out maybe once, and I had a single dorm on purpose because I knew I had 4 years to suffer and grind for a life for freedom, and I literally just watched endless amount of YouTubes. I fail forward, but I learn more by failing. So I love to fail because I just learn more and I fail forward. So that's why somebody should listen to me. And if they don't want to listen to me, that's okay because I'm going to do it anyways.
I love that. Okay, so we're going to pull back a lot of good things there. I suffer and grind for the life I know I want to live. For 4 years, I'm going to suffer and grind to give the life I always wanted. Excellent mindset for an entrepreneur. I want you to stay firm on that. And the other one is you failed forward and you love failing. So talk to me about what it's like to fail. What do you,
It's
okay,
it's
it sucks. There's no way around it, dude. It sucks.
so
But you've given some examples, right? You've failed forward in that. And it's interesting to think about a failure in a way that you failed because the commercial kitchen kicked you out, but the commercial kitchen kicked you out because you were growing and they were there so often because you needed production. Therefore, you didn't fail forward. You kind of achieved forward, but then had to learn how to stumble your way into manufacturing through somebody else. So these learning lessons, instead of thinking about it failing forward, let's think about it as I achieved forward and I had to make a decision, right? That might be a different way of thinking about it.
yeah,
And again, I love your mentality, especially when you say, I love to fail because then I learn something. And that's
exactly.
what this is all about, right? It's not about always being right, because if you're always right, you never learn an alternative. You never learn adversity, and the obstructions that you never have to face are, I mean, once they do show up, you have no idea how to handle it. So as a young 19-year-old going through this navigational path, you have a much better understanding of how to make a decision as a business owner than somebody who was given $1 million to start a business and they just started, right? It's a big difference.
Absolutely.
So I guess what I'm getting to is, Zach, I want to get into your mindset a little bit about the types of things you feel comfortable failing in or quote unquote achieving so you can learn. So walk me through some of the better challenges that you've had to overcome and the lesson that came with that.
Yeah, so originally I didn't have a mixer, so I would have to mix all the ingredients by hand, and I just failed forward because I didn't know that you could just mix them by hand. Like I would get a little big gallon just bowl, and I would just put in all the ingredients and literally put on gloves and start mixing. So I failed. I learned that okay, if I want to grow, I have to invest in a little bit of bigger things. So I guess that's an example of learning and failing.
Okay. So you learn to invest in equipment.
Yeah,
Okay. Now that you have equipment and you're making these things a little bit more efficiently, a lot less time, a lot less effort on your part. So now you're not cooking on all cylinders, but you're cranking away. You're doing better. What's the next lesson that came across your desk?
how to run social media, how to
Okay.
interact with people.
Yeah, it's not
And
easy, right?
no, but I love doing it. I love meeting new people. I love it. It's just so fun.
No, that's great. I don't want to stop you from having fun, right? So when you say it's fun, what is it about meeting new people that exhilarates you?
Just learning their stories and what works for them, what doesn't work for them, taking the good, learning from them. Because honestly, it's in business, it's all about people. If I'm doing something wrong and you did something wrong, I could be a couple steps ahead from you, just learning and listening to you that what you did wrong. So I think
Hmm.
that's just the awesomeness of people.
Okay. So now let's take this a little bit a different attack to this. Okay. You're 19 years old. You've learned a few different lessons. What's the most powerful thing you've learned so far in running Cleveland Pretzel Company?
Never quit and never let anybody tell you that you can't do it.
Okay.
Originally, when I started, everybody I knew thought I was absolutely crazy. So you just never quit, never give up. I could have quit so many times. This is crazy. Nobody believes in me. Who cares? Just do it because you love it.
Okay. And you obviously love pretzels because morning, noon, and night you're more than comfortable eating pretzels.
So good.
Um, I'm gonna take a step back into the pretzels. How many different flavors do you have then?
So currently, I'm doing the wholesale, and I don't have any flavors, just currently salted. But when I was doing
Okay.
the catering, I had many different flavors: pizza, cheddar jalapeno, cinnamon. But I could tell you, in product development, we could be having some flavors here soon.
Nice. Okay. Okay. So the next step is okay, we're gonna release some products. How do you how do you introduce the products to your market?
Yeah,
What's
so
your plan?
I think it's just to go out, really meet my clients, and just tell them tell them what I have, and let them taste it for themselves, and let the product sell itself.
There you go. I agree with that. So I don't think you're more than welcome to tell the audience what restaurants and bars you're in. I don't know if that's something that's
Yeah,
uh,
all
classified or anything like that.
all of Crowley's dive bars. That's a huge one. Crowley's dive bars, Eastlake, Painesville, Kirtland. I'm in Nora's and Wild Goose and Willoughby, and there's also a Crowley's coming to John Carroll. They're
Oh,
loading,
very nice.
so I'll be in there too. So all the John Carroll people will be able to get them because everyone's like, "Oh, I need a pretzel! I need a pretzel!" Don't worry, everybody. You're gonna go right to Crowley's.
They're coming soon. Okay. So if somebody wants, what I'd like to do is in the description, I'll give out where somebody can get a hold of your pretzels. Okay.
Perfect.
And we'll put your social media, we'll put your website, we'll put all that stuff down there. But I want people to be able to go and try them out so they can hopefully get a chance to taste how delicious they are. Okay.
Yes.
You've made a lot of great comments here, and I want to kind of not fold back, but I want to pull back a little bit and talk about lessons and challenges like we've kind of done. Okay. Other than the pivot that you had to do for manufacturing and the learning of social media, what other things do you think are important for an entrepreneur or somebody else that's like you starting out trying to figure things out? What is it that is an unknown that everybody should know about starting their own business?
Yeah, that's a great question again. I think everybody is not an expert in what they do. You just have to take a deep dive and go do it and learn. Just you're not going to be an expert. You have to go and do it, and you learn by doing it. And just you're going to be scared, you're going to be nervous, but you have to just go do it.
Okay. So how often do you find yourself out in the marketplace trying to sell or trying to push things and nobody's paying attention to you?
Oh, that happens all the time. You just have to. It happens. You just have to learn from it.
Okay. And when you, okay, how many different times have you altered your message or altered what you're telling people to try to get them to pay attention to you? Does that happen quite a bit, or has it
Oh,
always been the
absolutely.
same thing?
From when I was catering, I was doing catering, so I was just packing everything into my Nissan Altima, and I was coming to an event. And then I bought a trailer. So then I was thinking, oh, I should pivot to doing the trailer. But then I really sat back. I didn't work in my business. I wanted to work on my business. And I was like, well, how can I really grow this? And I'm like, I don't know if this trailer is the best thing for me. I want to grow a national brand. So it took a little more time, a little more progress to just research and do everything. And then I'm like, okay, this, in order to scale, this is what I have to do. So then I pivoted again.
Okay. So you got rid of the trailer, or you still have the trailer?
I still have it in my backyard.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay. And so now that you don't use a trailer anymore, so what are you doing instead of the trailer taking different things to catering? You're not doing anymore. What are you doing other than that trailer mentality? What have you altered yourself into?
Yeah, I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking how many more restaurants I could get
Okay.
and grow. So
That,
my biggest challenge that I had was that my current manufacturer, I exceeded their demand in Cleveland. So I
okay.
actually just found a new global manufacturer, and I'm actually starting to work with them in order to scale even more. So that was my huge challenge that I've been dealing with this past whole school year in the summer, but I cracked the code.
Okay. So what do you mean by crack the code?
I cracked the code. I worked out. I have a great partner now, and it's for sure good to go and scale, and they can make my product at any scale I need. And that was
Okay.
the
So
biggest challenge.
let me ask you this, because this is an interesting, I wouldn't say um, junction for you, but it's very interesting in my mind how this is going to go. Knowing how businesses grow and scale, you are a local guy that had a local commercial kitchen, then you found a different manufacturer that can help you with the local demand. Well, they can't produce as much anymore. So now you jumped, not national, you jumped to a global brand that can help you manufacture this. What is it about your recipe that allows you to be differentiated from every other pretzel that this global manufacturer will make for you?
Yeah, so just clean ingredients and it's different flavors and different varieties. So
Okay. So when we talk about growing and scaling your business, one of the cool things that comes out is you have to have this amazing, unique selling proposition, right? You have to have something that people want to be gravitating to. So clean ingredients and flavors, definitely the way to go. And as you have this product development path already in place, you're going to be doing a release of different flavors over the course of time. And now you've got more and more attention to you. It's going to make it easier for you. Clearly it's going to make it easier for you to become a scalable business because once you grab foothold in Cleveland, then it's going to be Columbus, Cincinnati. All of a sudden, it's going to be Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. You're going to start spreading out. And before you know it, there's people in California that are looking for the Cleveland Pretzel Company pretzels, right? And it's
absolutely.
not, it's going to be a lot of your sales and marketing effort to get your message out. But the differentiating factor of what it is you produce is what's going to make you unique. So I look forward to seeing how you're going to integrate your ingredients and the way you position it versus every other pretzel in the marketplace. Because if I remember from our previous conversation, Zach, you said, was it Auntie Anne's? And I can't remember all the different names. You only named like two or three different pretzel companies that have national recognition, and none of them do what you're planning on doing, which is a huge advantage for you, right?
Exactly.
So
Yes.
as you start navigating this path, it's almost as if you have started off with an endpoint in mind and you're working your way through it. That to me is the entrepreneurial mind working bigger and growing faster than what is reality, but you always are going to create a vacuum for people to pull or your product to pull in, right?
Exactly.
Create that vacuum.
If you know what they say you have to take down an elephant. How do you take down an elephant? You have to take little bites at a time. We're
Yeah,
always growing.
no, that's exactly right. So by taking one bite at a time, you move your way through. But every time you move forward, there's a void or a vacuum behind you that is going to get filled because you're pushing, you keep going. And what you're developing is this really unique product that people are going to want to start paying attention to. And that's all on you by the way you keep pushing it. Sales and marketing is a huge piece for you, obviously, and getting the word of mouth on the street about, oh yeah, you need those Cleveland pretzels. They're really good because they have two Z's and two, they're delicious, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So as we're talking about all these different things, where did this drive come from? I know you said I love pretzels, and I realized I wanted to live a life that I could create for myself. I think is summarily what you said.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Like, why is it such a drive? And I don't want to get so deep into the woods on this stuff, but I want people to realize you've turned your passion for pretzels into a passion for business. So I want people to understand there's a reason why you keep pushing, and that's because you want to create this life that you've always dreamt of living. Great. I want other people to recognize that because, in my mind, the business that you own should give you the life you've always deserved. But if you dedicate your life to the business and don't take time to actually grow the business, you end up with a job, and that's not what we want. So you're looking for, and you've already said this, right? I want to grow and scale. I want to work on my business, not in it. So eventually, you're going to have people working for you. So this passion is the driving force. How do you keep that passion going?
I think just constantly learning and evolving,
Okay.
honestly. And just I want to bring other people with me. I want to share my story and I want to uplift other people who are like me, who had a little bit of trouble childhood, they don't fit in normally. They want to be better. And other college students, I want to uplift others, and I think that's what's really going to propel my company in the future is I just want to give back. So many people at John Carroll, shout out, have helped me and abroad. So many people I've met, they've given back to me. I want to give back to them and other kids just like me. I think that's going to really propel my company in the future to keep that passion.
Okay. You may not have recognized what you just said, but you just gave an amazing vision and value proposition for the Cleveland Pretzel Company. And that is what's going to separate you from anybody else in the marketplace. Because of your will, because of your drive and passion to be better, and then turn around, extend a hand, and pull others up into that same position, that's going to make people want to come work for you. I want you to understand that. That's a very valuable statement,
Yeah,
a very
absolutely.
powerful statement. And when you think this way, and you when you exude this type of mentality, there's no reason to think manufacturers and partners are not going to want to work with you. They're going to want to work with you because you have this mentality and you have this drive and this passion, of course. But your constant look for the future for yourself and then turn around and find how many people you can help pull forward. There's going to be a ton of people that are going to want to work with you. And I mean that sincerely, Zach, because there's a difference between people that work incredibly hard on their business to be successful. And then there's those that work incredibly hard to be successful so others can follow. And that's a huge statement for you. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
No, you're the one doing the work. Um, with that in mind, who's the one person, or there could be multiple people, Zach, that you look up to? Who's been the person that's driven you to be thinking differently? Who's a mentor or somebody in your life that's kind of been the North Star for your mentality?
Yeah, honestly, that's a great question again. My biggest pusher is my father. He would always say, focus, drive, and persistence, and you could achieve anything you want. And I actually just lost my father a couple months ago. So I think that's the biggest driver, and just knowing that I can really do anything I want. So, and I'll do it for him, do it for everybody, and just help everybody along the way.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry about your father's loss.
Yeah. It's just part of the
Well,
story. Gonna,
it is
gonna
part of the story,
make
but
him
I don't
proud.
thank you for saying that. Yeah. It is part of your story, Zach, but it's not the only chapter, right? There's
Yeah.
multiple chapters in the Zach story, and there's going to be multiple chapters written as you keep moving forward. But the idea that you're grounded in your own passion and drive because of what you and your father had and what you are going to do to make him proud, there's a reason why it's going to be through all the things you'd focus, drive, and persistence. You're going to get the chance to achieve anything that you want because that's the guiding force. Again, there's so many layers to a 19-year-old kid that's a junior at John Carroll that happens to have a pretty successful pretzel company right now, and he's only looking to get better and bigger. There's a lot more to you than just a 19-year-old kid from John Carroll. So thanks for sharing your story, man. This is pretty cool.
Absolutely. I hope it helps somebody out there in the
Oh,
audience.
I guarantee it will because there's a lot of good stuff here. Um, I just want to keep talking to you real quick, if you don't mind. There's so many questions, but I kind of want to pull it all back and say, all right, Zach, in 5 years, where do you see yourself? Let's go there.
In 5 years, I see myself with a great national brand and just helping so many people. I think that's where I
Okay.
see myself in 5 years. A great brand. I honestly want to do a global brand too. I want to go back to Poland because my roots are in Poland. Everybody in my
Okay.
family immigrated from Poland. I just actually got back from Poland. I think I want to be a global brand and just show everybody Polish culture here in America as well with
All
pretzels. So
right.
maybe, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good one. All right, I'm gonna start peeling the onion a little bit. In 5 years, how big is your company going to be?
Over $100 million in revenue.
Okay. And how many different locations do you have targeted?
50 states.
Okay, 50 states. And does that mean, okay, how many, do you have a number that says this many restaurants, this many bars, or is it this many supermarkets? Like what's the thought process? Do you have that labeled out?
Yeah, so that's funny that you say that because I actually have a vision board. I made it in my dorm room,
Yeah.
and I only have it out until John Carroll. So I have the trailer. I did it last year and I pivoted from the trailer, so I have to update my vision board. But I have everything listed on my vision board. What I want to do: be a national brand in retail, $250,000 revenue a year before the time I leave John Carroll. So that's what I have just until John Carroll so
Okay.
far.
No.
I'll state it out. I have my vision board on the left side. I have everything Cleveland Pretzzel Company. Middle, my life. And then on the right, I have it all handwritten what I'm gonna do.
All right. So pick two things that are on that list of things you're going to do. I want to kind of one, I want the people to know what you have as a vision for what you want to do. And two, I literally want to hold this to you. So in a couple of years, I'm going to reach back out to you and say, have you gotten these things done? So what are two things on the handwritten section of your board of things you want to do?
So I want to grow a national brand and put Cleveland Pretzell Company on the map nationally. That's one.
Yep.
And number two, I want a private jet.
All right. Okay. And what's the reason behind the private jet?
So I could go anywhere with anybody who wants to go. Have great
Okay.
friends. Have friends out in California. Hey, you want to have a barbecue later this week? We'll come over. And I also want to go scuba diving, skiing, and travel. That's my big life goals. And just adventure.
No, you're good, man. This is why I asked the question, because it's written down, now it's spoken, and now it's all a matter of making it actually materialize for yourself.
Exactly. If you could see it in your head and you have the courage enough to speak it, it'll happen.
That a boy. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So I appreciate it. The story is being written as we speak, but it is yet to be finished.
I see it clearly in my head.
Attaboy. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Zach, for being on the program. I think this is an amazing opportunity for people to learn a little bit from somebody that would typically be considered green behind the ears, but years beyond your current age with experience, knowledge, and wisdom because you've had the guts to fail forward, which we've now realigned our mind to say we're not failing forward, we're achieving through lessons learned. Excellent opportunity to learn more. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, and I hope everybody listening has a remarkable day.
Thanks, bud. Bye, everybody.